Alright, I'm gonna make another video kind of just going over my bike. 2015 Yamaha fz07. I did this once before, but a little bit has changed, and I've just learned a lot more about everything as far as like riding to the way the parts work and all that. So I think before I had a number plate on, I just prefer the look of the stock headlight, so I went back to a stock headlight setup. Have the stock master to just some steel braided brake lines. I think the stock master is fine for everything the stock suspension can handle, honestly. I got some fork springs, but it's until I can get some like big fork springs, just gonna stick with this. SS Moto triple and bar clamps, which have been nice so far. It's just nice to hide the reservoir for the handbrake and eventually front brake master. Carmichael Pro Taper bars, and those are just my personal favorites. I know a lot of people like to run CR highs and other kind of like bars that have like more height to them, but I just like the width that the Carmichael bars have. It kind of like gives me more leverage for circles and stuff. This is something I haven't seen a lot of people running, the Six Shot Pro Series lever. It's like exactly the same as the Elite levers. It's just they sold the rights to the sport bike levers to Six Shot, and so if you've ever ridden with an Elite lever, you know what's up. I had an RSC before. RSC was cool. I like it. I would still like ride bike. Like my Grom still has an RSC, but I prefer this. Honestly, like if you can't really go wrong with an RSC or the Six Shot, and holy shit, there's like 1,000 birds being loud as fuck. Magura 13mm to monoblock, and that is plenty of brake. Especially I have the stock rotor as well and stock foot brake. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I have like the engine brake gone and a 62 sprocket, so like if you're running anything near stock, or if you're like a street setup bike, I don't need any more than that. FMS cages, you know, best cages for an FZ. I have dropped this thing 1,000 times learning circles and stalls and getting into more technical stuff. I've dropped this thing a ton. One question I get all the time is who made my tank, and Payette Customs out of I believe it was North Carolina, but it's Payette Customs or Payette636 on Instagram. He did solid work for us, and not crazy expensive. Stock rear sets. I know a lot of people like the SS Moto rear sets and stuff, but if you drop your bike a lot, you might want to stick with the stock rear sets, because the SS Moto rear sets stick out a little bit further than the cages do, so they hit first. I think these do too, but these fold, which you can't stick your foot under, so some people that's going to be a negative, you know. But them folding keeps everything from breaking. I've dropped this thing, like pancaked it like 20 plus times, like probably closer to like 50 times, and I broke one not rear set, but just the actual peg once. And I've seen SS Moto rear sets break all the time. Nothing against their rear set, it's a good rear set. It's just like if you pancake it really hard, it's like it doesn't have any give, so it hits first and it just snaps. So, you know, I don't know, my buddy Cody out in Fredericksburg has gone through like 3 sets. But like those are street wrecks, so you know, something's gonna break when you're going fast. FMS sub cage as well. My favorite part of this bike, Stunt Savage Creations handbrake bracket, uses the stock rotor and the stock foot brake caliper, and having that is nice for me. I don't know, I love the way that the shitty stock foot brake feels. I don't know, my foot brake circles are like on top, and I'm sure I could do it with more, but also like you really don't need more on this bike. It just doesn't have enough weight to like the only time I kind of wish I had more is if I'm doing like long no-handers and I have my idle turned way up. Sometimes it'll be right on the edge of what it has, but it looks pretty good. This is a step plate we made, simple step plate. Works really well. If you want one, hit us up. I can try to work one out for you. Bella rear seat. I just got the kit, and my buddy Rob helped me out a couple times now. So I cracked my first seat pan before I had a step plate. So now it has a little bit, you know, something else to take the pressure off that rear seat. 62 sprocket, aluminum sprocket. I think it's a Vortex. It's been good for me. I've gone through, this is my second one in like 2 years, but also I'm not on top of adjusting my chain all the time, and I ride like a whole lot. So that's kind of to be expected. I just have an F4i idle cable, and I actually stripped out there's like the threaded part in your throttle body where you would put an idle adjuster in. So my buddy pressed in a piece of hardware into my throttle body, so now it actually threads into a nut. It's got more threads to hold on to, which is really nice. But that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Jason Britton flash ECU, nothing special there. It's been good for me. Akrapovic short exhaust, which was on it when I bought it, which is like my favorite pipe that I've heard, but also I'm not spending $1,200 on an exhaust for like a $4,000 bike. I think that's it, but if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up here or on Instagram at NotSoCrispy. I'm pretty good about responding. And let's put in some work, see what it can do. Oh, real quick, I did want to do kind of an order of priority. So if it was a bone stock bike, and I wanted to get into stunting, the order that I would buy stuff for me is bars and a clutch lever, then cages, then probably a seat and step plate, and then handbrake from there. I think that's the order I'd go, and then all the little stuff kind of can, you know, whenever. I think the handbrake is definitely the last thing, unless you're already like someone who doesn't need that information. If you're looking for that information, you probably need to get better at foot brake first. Like, I could do foot brake circles before I even like learned a handbrake. So that. Oh, one thing I didn't forget to mention in the original thing, I am not running a stock shock. I'm running a GSX 750S shock, which is like a ton nicer. I wouldn't run a saggy ass fix because it just makes it like a pogo stick and super bouncy. Or it's not bouncy, it's just so stiff that, like, I don't know, it feels like shit. Everyone who's ridden one kind of doesn't like it, unless there's people that I don't know about. Like, there might be some people that like it, but I haven't met anybody that likes it, so there's that. So I would run an MT-07 or GSX 750S shock if you have an fz07. But yeah, that's it. Let's get to riding it now. For anyone wondering, I pretty much do all of my my circle stuff at like 3K RPM, and then all of my street stuff is at stock idle. And if I do any kind of like long fucking like idle no-handers, like on the street, I'll just go at whatever speed I'm comfortable at, like within the speed that I want to go in the no-hander, run the idle up until I don't need the throttle anymore, and then just like slow down a little bit and clutch up, try to find idle from there. Normally it ends up being about like 6K. PSI, by the